Oh, g'day everyone. How are you guys going? I thought I might just do this as a live stream for this. How we're gonna do a bit of an introduction of the 14-inch MacBook Pro or M1 Max. Now this finally has arrived. I actually ordered this live through with my members. As they would have seen me as I was ordering this computer, and it took a bit of time for it to finally arrive. That's just because of all the global shortage and all the issues that we had with shipping, especially here in Australia. How are you guys going tonight? Oh, if you're in daytime, how are you guys going? So what I'm going to do is we're going to bring out this thing. Now, let me just sort of I'm just going to move this cord here. It's just so this finally arrived, which is the 14-inch MacBook Pro. Now, I did try to do an unboxing. Unfortunately, I did not press record on my GoPro when I did the unboxing. So I thought I might just do this live with you guys just to show you my first impression, what I think. Now, what I did do is when they announced this on the Apple conference, I did not watch most of it. All I watched was just about the M1 chip. I didn't watch what the aesthetics looked like. I did not watch what display or even what I/O ports it had. I only watched what they brought out for the chip because that's all I was really interested in. G'day, Andy. How are you doing? Hope you're doing very well, mate. So when I unboxed this was a complete utter surprise to me on what it looked like. And I was very surprised when I actually saw what this came out to be. Now, first off, the aesthetics of this computer here. I was really blown by, firstly, was how thick it was compared to the previous MacBook Pro. Considering this is what a laptop it was. When I unboxed this, I thought it looked like the 2003 MacBook Pro. Now, before I might be a little bit late. G'day, Lawrence, how are you? Good? That's good to see you join me up. And I was trying to find my 2003 MacBook Pro, but I think I might have stashed it away somewhere when I was just rearranging the house. But what this also, so it's got a bit of a more squarish, roundish look to it, like the 2003. So it's like 20 years ago. Now, the one that it also looks a bit like is the old 2007 MacBook. I had to go find this one. This is what I found instead, was my old 2007. Now, I love this Mac to the bones. This was probably the best time I ever had with the Macs was this Mac here. I used it for, probably a decade until the 2007 Mac. 17 Mac is when I moved on to that one there. Or was it? No, 2016 is when I moved to another one, and I didn't like that one at all with the touch bar. That was, I think I showed in my grudge in my channel already about how I didn't like that, and so I stayed away from Mac and I went to Windows again. And this, okay, I like the IOs in it. I'm not going to go through the IOs about it because it's good that the biggest thing they brought out was that SD card reader and the HDMI port. That is a killer for a lot of business people and for a lot of professionals, because I don't really like carrying dongles. I was telling Lawrence that I don't like carrying dongles around, and I would willing to pay up to a couple $100 just to have that port built into the system. So that is fantastic to see that they've brought that back in, and that's very useful for a lot of business people having that port there. Now, the other thing I did like that they've brought back in is also the Magsafe. Now, this Magsafe, again, I think in this 2017, 2007, had the Magsafe as well. I love that. Now, one thing I did notice about this Magsafe, I just want to talk about this Magsafe, is the Magsafe is extremely strong, a little bit too strong to my liking. Like, it takes a lot of effort to pull that off. And that's not what we really want that to happen, was to have this so strong that if you walk past it, it's going to pull your computer away. So I think Apple could improve by not making this as strong of a magnet. It's nice that they've got back the Magsafe, but if you look at the old one, it did not pull the computer while I was saying so. And every time I've actually taken this off, a lot of us will actually use the cord to pull this off instead of actually using holding the metal edge. So that would put a lot of stress on the joint there. So I think that's something that Apple needs to look at, or they probably just want to sell more of these cords because they can make a lot of money from it. So I don't really want that. So that's my only gripe with that. I love seeing this back here. That's great to see, and that's especially for those who use more powerful, the big ones like this one here. So this one I think only requires 96 watts because this is the M1 Max. I think that if you got the 16-inch one, I think it's like 126 or something for it. So the 16-inch is a little bit bigger, but should have the same amount of power as this one here has got anyway. Because this one I've already maxed it out. Well, I didn't max it out. I just got the M1 Max, and it's got 32 gigs of RAM and I think a 1 terabyte hard drive in there anyway. So it's not the crazy most expensive one out there, but we don't sell these in the shop in Australia anyway, so we have to get this custom ordered. Now, the other thing I like about it is, I'm just going to stick with the aesthetics of this, is this engraving at the back. Hopefully you will see this. It's a really nice engraving. Like, unfortunately, it put it at the back here. I'd rather have it at the front. I would like to see that at the front rather than this Mac thing. I like that engraving is really nice. I have to say that's a beautiful engraving itself. Now, the actual Mac itself was surprisingly a lot heavier than I expected to be. The MacBook Pro. It's a lot heavier than I think. I haven't actually weighed this thing, but it just feels a lot heavier than the previous MacBook from last year. So this was a bit of a surprise. So I don't mind the thickness. I don't mind the thickness for getting my ports back. I'm welcome the thickness, but the heaviness was quite a bit of a surprise to me on how heavy this computer is compared to what the 14-inch, a lot of the lightweight sort of computers that's out there for Windows, that's a little bit lighter than what this thing is here. Now, the other thing is, I'm just going to bring this thing up here, is opening this computer up. Now, I like the new power button. That's a nice little touch to bring back home. And gone is that silly touch bar, which I never liked. I think the idea of it was cool, but they just never integrated very well. Not a lot of things. So it's good. They've got all the physical keys back and having a much better key travel as well. Gone is that silly butterfly system as well, but still, it's not like a really deep travel. And this is not what I would call a thin laptop. So it's a surprise that it doesn't have a much more higher travel, considering how thick this laptop is. I would have expected them to have a little bit more travel than what this is. It's still got better than previous year, but still, I would like to see more travel. Hey, we can only hope in a way. It's not as great as this one here. This baby here has the best keyboard. That's why I love this one. 2007 MacBook had the best keyboard on there. Now, as for the trackpad, no really much gripes about it. It's pretty much the same as last year, and there's not really much problems with it. I've never had any issues with it. Speakers on this, fantastic, absolutely fantastic. And I think I was telling a lot of my friends and also Lawrence is that still is probably one of the industry leading for speakers. They sound amazing still. So that's one thing that Apple, you can't say they deny. They do very good speakers and extremely nice, decent sound, and the acoustics on is beautiful and very, very well balanced. And yeah, got a lot of good bass. Everything's strong in a way. So speakers wise, it's probably the top notch. I think I think last year when I said the best speakers was coming out of for the Windows computer was a Dell Latitude 9520. And that was just beating the Mac. And I think this was going to beat that again. This is just, the speakers are really good in a way. Now, the screen wise, I haven't really played with the screen much. I can tell. I like the fact, there's one thing, let me just log in here. I like one fact about it is that you can do this, which a lot of other computers can't do. You can go all the way to the end and turn the display off completely. I like that feature. That wasn't a feature of previously. You can only go to like dim, but you can't actually turn it off completely. Now, that's awesome that you can actually turn off the display completely, because I do run things in the background. I just don't really want. Battery life. Yes, I will talk about battery life. G'day, LJ. Good to see you on my channel as well. Now, I'll get to the next section, which is to deal with the temperatures. Actually, no, I'll do the battery life first. Now, I've only had this for about a day because I arrived yesterday, and I've been playing with this thing on and off today. Now, battery life, and I've been editing on this computer a little bit as well too, and just running the usual stuff, installing stuff, getting things ready in a way. And battery life, I can say it probably can claim the whole day thing. Like, I wouldn't say 24 hours. I will probably say it will hit around about 10 hours. Even on editing, I think it will probably do at least about 7 hours on editing. That's really good, because most computers, when editing, is probably going to do about 2 to 3 hours anyway. So that's double what. So I think the battery life on this is amazing. And I think with the ARM chip, I think, as you see a lot of other people from other channels the battery life on this is amazing. So I should actually bring up the screen so it doesn't look like all blank. But like I said, I love that feature of that. So I think you can't get anyone that's going to beat the battery life on the MacBook Pro. Now here comes the killer. Now this was a bit of a surprise for me. And I'm going to actually show up this video here because I took the video of what this thing was doing anyway. So let me bring this video up. And that is the temperatures. Now, normally this computer, when it's running on just, your things like that, like surfing web and even just, I think even when I was just watching videos as well too, I even watched I think I watched about a 20-minute video. It didn't heat up that much. But when you start doing some maybe, because I do play a web-based game, I was just playing a web-based game and it started heating up this Mac quite a lot. So this is what I would say gets hot. It's hot. I'm not going to show you the temperatures here because I was very surprised by that. So let me bring in the other one. It's a video here. So it's my usual video. Let's see how can I do this. All right, here we go. Here we go. So this is when it's playing a computer here. Now I'm going to see if I can play this video. Let me play. I hope the video audio comes through. Please tell me if it comes through or not. 14-inch M1 Max, and we're just pretty much just running like kind of basic webcam here. You can see that about 41, about 42 degrees Celsius. It's actually quite hotter than I thought for a Mac. I'm also going to show you what it looks like on the back end. So this is the back end. I was noticing the heat when this was on. And so that's around about 38 degrees Celsius at the back end. Yeah, so as you can see, it's a lot hotter than I expected, and that's just running a web-based game. So if you're doing any sort of hardcore work, that's probably the same. Now this fan noise, I didn't measure with my decibel meter, but I can just tell you from what my experiences, I would say it would be around about 39 decibel-ish, around about that. So the fan did spin up a little bit. But it wasn't like making it max. Now I don't know how to make this thing max yet because I haven't had time to have a play and just to see how fast how noisy the fan can be. But I don't expect it to be noisy because that's max. Max these days don't get that noisy in terms of things. But I do know. Let me remove this thing away. Yep. I do know in this one here, which is the 2007 MacBook Pro, that spun up and made it very loud. That's because it's got Intel chip and also has NVIDIA GeForce something in there. I can't remember what it is. It's been too long ago. So that was a surprise how hot it was. Now again, remember your hand is around about 33 to 34 degrees Celsius, so you do feel the heat on this MacBook Pro. So I was very surprised by the heat on this computer. And just before the stream, now I'm going to go back to Premiere. Now with I was playing with Premiere. I can tell you that editing on this Premiere real time when you're editing, it's gorgeous. I like it. I really do like it. I didn't have too much issue. Now I do run AMD Ryzen 9 5950X with RTX 3080 card as well. So it's a pretty fast computer, that one there. And even that sometimes has issues, especially when I'm doing motion graphics. That's when it starts issues there. I think this one did a little bit better. The M1 Max did do a little bit better when I'm real time. No, I'm not talking about exporting. We're talking about just real time editing, which is what you really feel in a way. So I did feel that. The other thing that I found from the M1 Max while I was editing was it was a little bit smoother, even compared to the RTX 3080. I was pretty blown for that. Again, this is probably could be the optimizations that Adobe has got with Apple. They've maybe just got better optimizations for it, because I was, wow, this is actually quite smooth. So it might end up being my new editing computer full time. I have started, I'll put it on a lot of my plugins and stuff like that, but I was going to take this on to go. Now, also, what I found was when I was exporting, now this is probably not something that's a big thing for a lot of people, because exporting, you're not really, you can walk away from the computer, and then do other stuff and come back anyway, which is what I normally do. Now, exporting, I did a test. Now I'm going to record this again because I was trying to record and I missed out. I walked away and the Mac finished a lot earlier than I expected tonight. So I will do a comparison export of the my editing machine. Again, it's got a 3080 card in compared to M1 Max. Now I can give you a spoiler alert straight up, is the M1 Max beated my 3080 card on export, and this is my usual export. So there's no benchmarks on it there. This is my usual workflow that I would normally export for one of these videos that you see. I actually exported one of the videos. I took it cleared all the caches and all the stuff to make sure that the Windows computer did not have any advantage. And the M1 pretty much beat it by about 3 minutes or so. I was like, wow, that's a huge difference for a export that normally takes around about took about 20 minutes or so. So that's a surprise. So yeah, that thing is quick, especially. But this was connected to power. But I'm gonna try this without power. See how that. I mean, without having AC plugged in anyway. I don't think it's gonna make that much difference, but I'm very well. Looking a bit warm. Yes, it is. I normally would have the aircon on, but just for your stream here, because StreamYard doesn't do very good with noise, and so it's hot here. And I've been running around as well, trying to find that 2003 MacBook. I could not find it. But yes, overall, what else is there to say about it? No, like I said, I have not played. Oh, yeah, I want to talk about other thing about is the display here. Let me just log back in here. Is it this finger? No, this is this finger. All right. Now, we probably noticed that it's got the notch here, which is like the iPhone. Now, I don't run the iPhone anymore, so I'm not used to having the notch, but on the Mac, when I did see or hear about they're adding in the notch, I wasn't too worried about it because of being a Mac user. I've been a long time Mac user, and I'm not Mac user. I knew that the menu bar on top was where normal is not really. It's pretty static. You can't really change over, and a lot of applications can't override in there. So it's pretty much a dead land zone up there. So if they put a notch in, I didn't think it was going to be an issue. Now, having properly play with it, and most applications won't even get reached to that point there where it actually uses the notch bar. I'm talking about the menu bar. Now, Premiere and some of the Adobe software do go past that, and it just uses this other side. So I didn't find it an issue for the notch. So for me, it wasn't that bad. And when I play multimedia, it was pretty much blanked out anyway. So you couldn't even use that area. It's not like the iPhone where they can try overlay it. It's not even used. It's just not area used by the Mac OS anyway. So it's not an annoyance thing. The notch. Now, as for the webcam, I haven't played with it. I haven't actually done a video conference with it, and I will, and probably in the next one. I was going to try and do this live, but on this, maybe next week I'll do the live stream through this and see how it goes. You can tell me how it goes compared to this Dell webcam anyway. But I expect it to be pretty decent. Most Mac Apples have got usually very decent webcams, so overall, I'm thinking, and the keyboard and everything and all the stuff. Now, I actually want to tell you what would I think about the price of this. If this was a Windows computer and I had to price this computer, I think knowing the components of it and the performance, as well as some of the heat and the speakers and stuff like that, I want to tell you how much it cost me, because it cost me quite a bit for this MacBook Pro. I would say this here, it would range around about. I would say around about the 3,000, like for a Windows per person who would use it professionally. I'm not talking about going for the best of the best. I would say I'll put this around about the 3,800 mark here in Australia. Anyway, so I think Apple, even though I paid a little bit more than that, I think Apple have got it pretty much on the spot where I think the price point of this Apple, I thought it was going to be expensive, but seeing the performance and how everything comes tied together, I think this is actually pretty good value for money for what it is, especially that battery life is going to help you a lot for those who travel a lot. This is going to help you out. It is a bit of pity that this is a lot more heavier than I thought. I think it's because of the batteries. I haven't even looked at. After this, I'm probably going to look how big the batteries are anyway. I'm not going to open this up, but I'm going to look at some of the my Apple channels anyway. But I think the weight of this is all because of the batteries in this thing to give you that really crazy battery life as well. Besides the silicon M1, yeah. But overall, I think I might even go back to becoming a Mac person as a full-time back again. At the moment, the last 4 years I've been running Windows over because I was so disappointed with the Mac. But I might actually go back to Mac. This is a really decent machine. I'm really liking the overall package. I'm definitely be traveling around with it anyway. So Could I recommend the Mac if you were using both computers, like both operating systems, like I do? I would say yes. And we're not talking about the ecosystem yet. We haven't talked about the ecosystem. I'm just going the computer as a computer. This MacBook is pretty decent. I think this will welcome a lot of the old users of the MacBooks who have left, like myself, in a way. So I think I could definitely recommend this MacBook Pro. Now I have not got the M1 Pro. I don't know how different it's going to be with the performance wise, but that was the M1 Max in a way. So just to give you guys a bit of idea of what I think it is, I hope that was probably useful for you guys. Now, onto the usual stuff that I do. Now, updates on what I've been doing for this week. Now, I've obviously been taking it a little bit more easier. I have got this, whoa, let me see if I can grab this thing up here. Oh, I'm actually playing around with this Asus VivoBook Pro 15. So that's the next video that's going to be reviewed. It's pretty good, but there is one big issue, and you'll see in my review video for that one there. So I'm just testing this thing out. I think it's been pretty good one. And I've got a few other computers coming through. Anyway, I'm going to see if there's any more questions. If not, I'm going to call it a night because I'm going to go back to testing this computer. I've got another computer I'm trying to fix as well too. All right, have you guys got anything up there? The other thing I also want to mention is, while I'm waiting for the questions, is I'm not sure a lot of you guys have noticed or even watched some of the channels that's out there, is that AMD released the new Threadripper, which is under the 5000 chip. So that's the not the Lovelace, sorry. Lovelace is the other one I'm talking about. The new Threadripper. Now I've been trying to get I'm trying to get some info to try and get my hands on the new one. Now, of course, it's just been announced as for stocking of. It's going to be in the Lenovo ThinkStation P620. Now, you know, I've got the P620 has come on my channel a few times. This will be Gen 2, and I'm going to be really, really interested to see this one here because that had the previous gen, which is the Gen 1, had the Zen 2 architecture. This will be updated to the Zen 3 architecture, which is like the Ryzen 5000 chips, and they were great. So I am interested to see the performance of this. I'm trying to get AMD to, and also Lenovo, to try and get something for a sample for it, to actually have a play with it. So they do have a new chip in the lineup of the new Threadrippers. I think it's a 24 cores, so it'll be 12 cores, 16 cores. The new one, which is 24 cores, they've got a 32 core, and of course the 64 cores in a way. So I think, again, they've bumped up the amount of RAM it can actually support. I think it's 1 terabyte of RAM now, which is blows me away how much it can use. And also, I think it's got, of course, I think it's got PCI Express 4 still. I don't think it's got PCI Express 5 yet. It's only got PCI Express 4. And I think I've got to look at other specs, but it's going to be interesting to see. So that's one of the new things that's come out. I know Intel have released the new Xeons as well. Now, those Xeons aren't really for us consumers. They are more for your cellular sort of data center sort of systems. I think it's called Xeons D. I had a bit of conscience at it. It's not part of my area, so but that's, at least there's new Xeons coming out. So watch out for space of this year because we're going to get new Xeons even on the desktop platform or server platforms anyway. So that's going to be interesting, seeing that they've already started at the rim and they're going to work their way backwards anyway. So definitely look at this for that. So finally, an update to the Xeons. We've been waiting for, is it like 4 years or 4 to 5 years now? It's been a while now since the last Xeons of it. So we'll see how that space comes along. Hey, it looks like we're pretty quiet here. So what I might do is call it a night. And thank you very much for joining me. And hopefully that some of the information I've given you, what I think about the new Mac M1 Max, is pretty good. I think it is. All right. As always, I hope you guys enjoyed this. And of course, I'll catch you guys in the next video. See ya.